Hello, welcome to BioBiz TV. I'm Boonsri Dickinson with SmartPlanet. I'm here with John Melo, the CEO of AMRS. So today you are doing your IPO. For those not familiar with your company, can you give a brief introduction to what your company does and why it's an interesting stock pick?
Sure. We take the yeast that we've been used to for a very long time around life, the same yeast that makes beer, that makes alcohol, that makes bread, and we're really reprogramming that yeast, almost like rewriting the software inside the yeast so that the yeast in fermentation makes high-value hydrocarbons for the renewable chemicals and fuels markets.
Right, so that science came out of a lab in Berkeley, and so now you're one of the first biofuels companies to go public. How do you plan on commercializing those products?
I think we actually start in a different way, which is by, first of all, not being a biofuels company. We think it's really challenging to make money depending on subsidies. So what we focused on doing is really going after opportunities in specialty chemicals, and then we see a great opportunity in fuels sometime later as first of all, the product and the markets evolve. So that's why we call ourselves really a renewable specialty chemicals and fuels company, where we're focused on high-value chemicals, products where we are structurally cost advantaged, and products where we can deliver a significant performance benefit and deliver a green product for the same price as the product we're replacing today in the market.
So a lot of the biofuels companies face the same challenges. It's getting a competitive price point to oil, also scaling it up, and also putting it out in infrastructure. So how are you planning on getting past these hurdles?
We actually focused on a great core product. Our building block is Farnese, and we really started by working in the Brazilian sugarcane sector, which if you look at the cost base at our target economics, it's about a $42 a barrel equivalent, which ends up actually being lower than the production cost of many of the new fields that are being discovered around the world. So we look at it as actually being structurally cost advantaged, but selling the product into markets, into higher value markets, so that we can actually access a much higher premium to the barrel of oil, and that's how we're able to maintain a positive gross margin from the first product we sell starting in 2011.
Is that why you are starting partnerships in Brazil?
It is, because the Brazilian sector is one of the most amazing sectors in the world. If you think about sugarcane in Brazil, it's the lowest cost biomass in the world. And what we're doing is partnering with the leaders in the sector, the 4 companies that represent over 20% of the sector in Brazil, and we're partnering with those companies to really access the end markets with them. So for the first time, we're really in a situation where we can go right from the cane field to end customers like Procter & Gamble and create value by really delivering a fantastic source of biomass added with our reprogrammed yeast to make exactly the products in a very fine way that a Procter & Gamble needs to deliver to its customers green, higher performing end products.
You're not only just trying to make green products, you're also making drugs with it. So can you talk about how, if metabolic engineering is easy, and talk about the malaria drug that you're developing through the Melinda Bill Gates Foundation?
Sure. That was actually where the company got started, and it was really interesting. It's when I first joined the company, we really started with a not-for-profit grant from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And the whole purpose of the grant was exactly what we're doing today in renewable chemicals and fuels, but it was after a purpose of saving lives. And the whole idea was to lower the cost and make more available a very rare product that comes from the wormwood plant called artemisinin. And that product, because it's rare and it has a very volatile cycle, it's not readily available and it costs a lot when it is. So our whole purpose was, can we get nature really on steroids by using yeast to make the product in high volumes and lower cost to really focus on saving lives?
Do you have a royalty-free license on it?
We do. Basically, the way we developed the technology, the way the grant worked was, we get to keep the IP. We now have developed that technology. We've completed the project. We've done it ahead of schedule and ahead of target. We've licensed it to Sanofi Aventis, and we get no fee. In return, we get to keep the IP from the development, and Sanofi gets a license free of a fee for the developing world, focused on malaria specifically.
So can you talk about what your lawyers are losing sleep on, your IP, and what's good about it?
The one great thing about our IP team, both internal and external, is they're not really losing sleep. They've done an amazing job with their portfolio, that what they're really focused on is really applying a lot of energy to grabbing more and more IP around the chemistry and around the products for the end markets. If you think about our portfolio, we have 28 patents issued, 198 patents applied for. We have the pathway that makes long-chain hydrocarbons out of organisms. We have composition of matter for our end products, and we have the tools and unique technology that enables us to engineer and test over 1 million strains a day, enabling us to get to productive cost and profitable production.
So you can actually take sugar and turn it directly into fuel. Is that what makes you different from other biofuels companies?
It is. It's really the fact that it's a platform and the product. The platform meaning our pathway and what we have IP around can make 50,000 end molecules, long chain carbons, not alcohols, not plant oils. We're not trying to compete with those commodity markets. We're trying, and we are making, a high value building block called farnesene that goes into those end markets.
How do you see yourself competing in the market?
We don't see today a competitor that's near our performance from a technology or emerging technology perspective. What we see is really competing with companies like Dupont and BASF, who are the current suppliers but are delivering a petroleum source product versus our renewable product. So our mission is really simple: continue to deliver a higher performing product or equal to petroleum, but do it from a green source and sell it at the same price.
Okay, so the secret to a good business is the management team. And you've said that you want to run your company like a jazz band. Why are the people that you're working with suitable for this?
They're so diverse. I mean, that's what I mean by the jazz band example. It's like you want fantastic musicians. You want to give them a bit of space, but a bit of space in a framework. And you just want them to be creative and do great things. So if you think about our diversity, we have postdocs from UC Berkeley. We have some of the best program managers, science program managers out of Novozymes. We have the leader from an engineering perspective out of Tate & Lyle and was part of the Tate & Lyle Dupont joint venture. We have some of the thought leaders from the chemical industry, the fuels industry, and just some great experienced managers from both public company and international experience. It's that kind of blend. Both the Portuguese speaking in Brazil, we now have 84 people working in Brazil, some of the best talent in fermentation technology. We have 304 people across our entire company. When you look at that resource, that talent, and that amount of creativity, you want them to have some space in some kind of framework that aims us all towards the end target, which is the impact we can have.